To order, would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the Board of Aldermen meeting for Monday, June 2nd, 2025. First order of business, is there any additions, deletions, or other modifications anyone would like to make to the agenda? I have none. City Attorney, no changes to anything? Okay, very good. We will move along. Next up is minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any amendments or approval of the minutes to the minutes of the previous meeting? So Alderman Gillen.
Am I going to upstage you here?
Well, you kind of are, but that's okay.
There's an error here we need to correct. I know you like to be called mayor, but unfortunately in the mayor's report, I believe our mayor sworn in the new Alderman Savage. Am I correct? Yes.
So that is in the last paragraph under communications from the mayor. So we just changed Alaire to Dunges.
And then I'll move the approval with the amendment.
Okay, thank you. It has been seconded. Any other changes? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Motion passes. Okay, next up is the public comment period. And before we move into the public comment arena, I just had a couple of things I wanted to mention before I open it up. So over the last several meetings, it has become evidently clear that this portion of the meeting has become a platform for folks who are more interested in making speeches or listing grievances, some at great length. You know, this is my 10th year as Board of Aldermen president, not consecutively, but it is my 10th year, and I thought I had seen and heard it all. But you know what? I haven't. And so we're going to lay a couple of boundaries here if we can. Outside the rail, in my view, is an opportunity for a member of the public to address the board on a specific issue, looking for action or help from the board, or announcing an upcoming event, either of which is specific and relevant to the city of Rutland. And I think that that's why we're here. This is a business meeting of the city of Rutland. At this point, I also want to impress upon the public that you are always welcome at the Board of Aldermen meeting. And in my 10 years up here, and I know when Alderman Talbot was here, if you have a specific issue to bring to the board's attention, you are always welcome to do so, and I encourage you to do so. But I also encourage you to refrain from giving speeches, to refrain from listing your grievances. There'll be no grandstanding, and you should be able to get your message across in 5 minutes or less. Now, I'm not going to sit here with a stopwatch, but I think for most people, if they have an issue that they want to bring to the board's attention, they should be able to do it in give or take that time frame. I think that that's reasonable. I'm going to be flexible. Again, I want to encourage people that if they have an issue to come before the board, but if anybody's been watching for the last few meetings, I think you all have a pretty good understanding of what I'm saying. So I will leave it at that for now. And I will open it up to public comment outside the rail from anybody who has an issue to bring before the board that's not on the agenda. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. Okay, why don't we start right over here? And if I could ask if you could just come up to the podium here. That way you'll be caught on PEG TV. People will be able to hear you at home as well as here in the chambers. I want to welcome you to the Board of Aldermen. Thank you for coming. And if I could just politely ask for your name and address for the record, and then the floor is yours.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lori Coombs, and I live at 51 Edgerton Street in Rutland. And I am, this is the first time I've ever come before the board, and so thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you. Condensing into 5 minutes, that's a little difficult, but I will try to do my best. I am here today because I quite honestly want to address what I consider to be failures in leadership with our chief of police. I believe that and this is where I seek the board's help and action related to the city police department's response to 133 Grove Street over the past year. It's my understanding that there have been multiple city resources that have been consumed by that one address, and multiple city resources consumed by that address, sometimes multiple times a day, because of one individual who, according to the people who have intimate knowledge of that address, was involved in drug dealing, drug using, and quite honestly, just mayhem. And my brother lived at that address, recently passed away under very suspicious circumstances, and our family has not been able to get any answers from Chief Kilcullen or any of the officers or people who are involved in investigating, protecting, and keeping people in the city of Rutland safe. Our brother was a vulnerable individual who deserved to be protected, and he was not protected. And part of the issue that I have is that for this last year, the individual who was causing these issues was allowed to come back to that address, even though they did not necessarily, they had a former relationship with the person who reportedly owned the property. They were not in a relationship, so I can see that there is a struggle with the legality there. And yet, this person was menacing people. This person had a dog that was aggressive and was reportedly being used as a weapon that also attacked my brother not long before he passed away. The chief of police and I had a meeting with my family where we asked the chief of police, what he knew about this situation, and his response to me was, well, I don't know much. And that's an answer that's not good enough for me. That is not answer that should be good enough for anyone in the city, especially when your department is called to an address multiple times in a year, and all of these resources are being consumed by this one house that is literally probably 300 yards from our intermediate and middle school. You have an obligation to know. And in addition, there was a no trespass order that was placed on this individual in March, and that was related to me by the property manager, and that was filed with the city police. There was also a citation from this city's administration and building inspector's office, which closed down the room of the individual who was reported the subject of all of this mayhem, so that person was no longer allowed to be on the property per the city of Rutland. And on May 13th, a city of Rutland police officer walked that individual back onto that property and told the property manager that that person had a legal right to be there. And just a few hours later, my brother was dead under very suspicious circumstances, and no police investigation was initiated, even though we were told that he was blue and not breathing when they arrived, and the EMS people said, how long has he been dead? So there's no opportunity to have gathered any evidence, physical or otherwise, related to what happened to him. So that is why I am here today. And in addition, I think policing, I'm a professional social worker. I've worked with police for 40 years. They have the most difficult job, thank you. And I respect police officers, and I am acutely aware of how difficult their jobs are. And if they are not given the support, the resources, the training, the technical support around the legalities and all those other things, that falls on the head of one person, and that is the chief of police. And then the other person is the mayor of the city of Rutland. And I also contacted him to try to meet with him, and the response I got from his office was that he was too busy. That's not acceptable. So since 5 minutes is all I have, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. My condolences. Okay. Is there anyone else outside the rail who would like to speak on an issue not on the agenda? I was going to go right around, so, yep. I'm going to go around. So good evening, thank you for coming.
Hi.
I would like to politely just ask for your name and address for
Yes,
the record,
sir.
please.
My name is Lindy Smith. I currently have no address. I'm homeless. Again, we were living outside for approximately 7 months when we were granted an agreement to come and help clean out the boarding house at 133 Grove so that we could obtain a room when the rooms were open again. Since we moved into the house, and we've been there on and off cleaning, there's been a lot of drama, a lot of chaos, a lot of drug activity. As somebody who's been in recovery for many years and has struggled very much, especially since becoming homeless, and not feeling like I'm getting the support that I need and from the community, I have had slip-ups. I would be unfair and unjust to admit that. However, in order for people in this community to maintain their sobriety and to maintain their ability to be an asset to the community they live in, they need to receive the proper supports. Now, this address is the same address that Lori just spoke about, 133 Grove. I was assaulted there a week ago Saturday by the person that was living in the house, and recently a plea deal was reached. No, I know that has nothing to do with this situation. But my concern is that if the boarding house was shut down the way it should have been years ago, when they got all these complaints and all these calls, that maybe I wouldn't have been attacked. Maybe Charlie wouldn't have been bit by a vicious dog. Maybe Charlie would still be alive. There's so many what ifs, but at the end of the day, the responsibility falls to the people that are in charge in the city, falls to the people that make the decisions and have the power. And the people that hold the power don't always wield it in a way that is right or just or fair, and I understand that, but I am urging the Board of Aldermen and the mayor himself to look into this situation, as well as the chief of police, because there's a lot of things that are not right about the situation in general, and this is very early on in the situation of us being back on the street. We haven't even been out in a week in a tent again, and it's just really discouraging, but at the end of the day, I just want to speak up in support of what my friend said about her brother and about the things that have been going on at this house for a very long time, even before we moved in there. So, because technically we weren't moved in, we were just trying to facilitate making the house livable. And all this time, the drugs, and it was just a lot. So, I really am not sure what else to say. I received a letter from the city of Rutland, the Department of Building and Zoning, basically saying, good luck finding a room. So when other people were removed from the house, they placed them in hotels, and yet we're out on the street. So I don't know what to do. I'm going to try to reach out to Tom and see who I can speak to at Brock and do what we can in that avenue, but I feel like my hands are tied again, and I don't know where to go from here. But I'm going to look into it. However that comes across, I need to look into it.
Okay,
All right, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you.
absolutely. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. All righty, anyone else? Please. And good evening and welcome. Thank you for coming. And if I could politely just ask for your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Scott Stewart Barden. I'm currently residing for a particular reason at 88 Center Street in Rutland. I'm not
Okay.
here to ask anything. I'm here to offer. As Mayor Mike knows, we have a lot of people in our background. First of all, I'm going to pass this around. Okay, this one case of mine, I'm under written orders by the Department of the Army. The book is done, it's being edited, and there's going to be a movie made out of it. Gardner Museum, St. Patrick's Day, 1990. Dennis and Arthur O'Connor got their cop's uniform from the Boston cop, gambling debt enforcer, and walked into the museum without hurting anybody, and walked away now what is worth $2 billion worth of paintings and the video and the Ming Dynasty base. They're on their way home. Why? I control them. That story should tell you why. The guy in the glasses turns out to be 11 years ago my oldest daughter's new father-in-law, Dennis O'Connor, son of Little John. My son-in-law is a grandson of Little John O'Connor. The guy in the picture singing, my work, tried to have me killed 3 times. My job I was 25 years old, working for the Pentagon out west for a 3-star, and had a couple projects cleaning up the troops coming out of Vietnam and some other things. Until the day in the racquetball court, he transferred me to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. Why? My aunt retired, my mom's oldest sister. She had married a cop. 2 weeks before they sent me, they both retired. Uncle Bill was running Merck Security. What changed my life forever, Aunt Thelma became the overnight duty nurse to Crazy Joe Bonanno's mother. Gets worse than that. But it doesn't make any difference. The reason the paintings are coming home is because I came home to have this bullet removed, Burlington, and a world's expert, misdiagnosed as a brain tumor. I got shot working undercover narcotics, New York State Police, took 3 rounds. I'm 75 years old. I've had 21 major surgeries in 14 years, 6 of them back surgeries. Seriously. Why am I still serving? Well, because of this thing about the paintings. It's very important. What we're going to do, I talked to the mayor. I had him raise the reward to 10 mil. I'd like to have fundraisers. We're going to take it around the country. I'd like to start here, okay? In other words, the painting's stolen. People will come and be able to view them and give a contribution to help them get their money back. That's one thing. I don't think it should be a problem. We will provide everything, including a real rock band. I'm not that you don't have them, but my son's in the music industry, okay? So that's one thing. Secondly, just one of my orders. I created this in 1994. Actually, this is the one that was mine. It's called a Mocha blanket. Just one of my orders, written orders, from Jack Ma of Alibaba, 10 million units. First time order. We've been looking for a place. It's been difficult, naturally, employees. We'd like to have it so the bus service could drop off people. We would like to have a nursery for women, you know, the younger women that would bring their children. And these things sell, you can't keep them in stock. That blanket right there, when I made it, was selling for $75. Well, actually, that's what we call a couch potato blanket. Look at the labels on there. The labels, Yvon Chouinard's a friend of mine, he gave me his label maker. That's seen as of the Adirondacks. But since coming here, we've also covered the Green Mountain Mocha Company. So those labels, okay, the Adirondack Mocha Company, okay, will be the Green Mountain Mocha Company. We have several other orders. It's going to be difficult with getting employees and everything, but we pay well, trust me. Okay, so the other thing, Mike and I decided, we're going to bring Michigans. Everybody know what Michigans are? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. In my work on 2 missing people, it involved the northern counties where I was from. I have a major RICO case coming down on that. So as far as Plattsburgh goes, where it started, needless to say, that's where Michigans come from. So what we're looking at, and why I'm asking, the cart is a little over $4 grand. We want to have a fundraiser. The church is involved, Grace, okay, I talked to them. We'd like to raise money for the Children's Food Fund or the food fund that they contribute. All the churches contribute, they feed them at the end. We'd like to start with the concerts, okay? Probably on farmers market days, but I guarantee they'll sell out. If you've never had a Michigan, they are. I mean, that's why they're on TV. They're world famous in Plattsburgh, but we're going to make healthy ones, okay?
Okay, well, Mr. Martin, I appreciate you coming in and letting us know about this. Thank you.
That's it. So we're looking for, permission to proceed with this. I'm not going to spend that much money on a car. If it's acceptable and the city would like to, be involved with this, we'd like to do it.
Well, I think what we'll do is take that under advisement, and I'll have a discussion with the mayor, and then we'll get back to you. How's that?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in. All righty. Anyone else outside the rail on an issue not on the agenda? Yes. Yes, please. Hello, welcome. Good
My
evening.
name's Nicole Conway. I'm from Rutland City. I'm a local. I've been here all my life, and I'm from Rutland High School. I'm turning 50 next year. You might see me around town, No one ever asks me what I'm up to, what I'm doing. I'm upset because I hate customer service. Customer service sucks right now. When you're dining, when it comes to customer service at Walmart, customer service downstairs, that's also customer service, right? Your restaurant's customer service. Customer service has gone way down. I've been a chef for 30 years, okay? Now, talk about customer service. You have to be at your best. Customers are number one, right? The people are number one. Your boss is number one. Your boss is the one that pays you, right? So you can't be like, gotta get along with everybody. So I get along with everybody. But no one ever asked me, hey, what do you know? What are you about? Just go by me like I'm homeless. I'm picking up trash because I run for a living. I'm training for a 5K last year. I injured myself. So they pick on me being skinny and, saying I'm like a drug addict because I look like one. Well, if you see any Boston runners, marathon runners, they look like me. I got a six-pack. I run all the time. I'm athletic. I do protein shakes and everything else. I depend on my resources, and this is where we come down to, okay? Now, customer service again. Now, since everybody knows me, so it's kind of like, nitpicking a little bit around here in Rutland City. You guys nitpick like nobody's business. Nitpick and label everybody like you know better than anybody. You know nobody. You know better than anybody, None of you are. Everybody's going to take your job. I'll take your job. Everybody's waiting in line to take your job, his job, your job. And of course, President of the United States' job too, right? Everybody's going to take your job one day. And everybody's do better than you. Everybody's going to do better than you. So you got to make sure that you know inside that you're going to do the best job you can do. So for me, I love the rec area. So I use the recreation departments. I use my resources downtown. I paid my $12 residence to the recreation department. I get my trash bags there from Kim, director there. And she gives me trash bags. And, I was like, hey, going in back and forth. She's like, how much does it, cost? She's like, there's a gym, there's a locker room, there's showers, there's basketball. And I saw the kids playing, and I play basketball all the time. I've been playing 5 years. I'm good. So, I'm really good. So I do a lot of sports. I'm from Stratton, Vermont, by the way. So, coming here is great. So one day I went to the rec department. I go there all the time, during my mornings and, get my shower in and, check out the, people walking around the basketball court. They go ladies. They go ladies. They do the walk around. They do Rutland Stafford. They do the walk around the track. They go people. So what happened was I work out there too. So it made it a little bit convenient because I live down the road, right? So it's convenient. $12, can't go wrong. It's right next door. So one day I go in there. It's real dark. I'm like, oh, lights are off. It must have been what time? 7:30. And this is my affidavit to you. I have it notarized. You have a copy of this, and I'm going to read what happened to me when I walked in to another date at the recreation department with Kim and Elena and half of their crew, which I'm friends with. I see them all the time here and there. I went to bazaars, basketball games. I work out with a few people there, shower, That's what it's for, $12. I'm a member. I'm not just some Joe Schmo just taking a shower, hanging out, There's Christmas bazaars and stuff. So here's my story.
So, Ms. Conway,
So I got no trespass. This is about my no trespass that I want it dismissed and lifted.
Yeah, what I'm going to ask is just if you could see what it is you're asking the Board of Aldermen.
I want my no trespass to be lifted because there was an issue with lights. The lights weren't turned on at 6. They were turned on at 7:45. When I was in the shower, when I was going through the hallway, there was no lights. There was no lights by the gym. There was no lights in the foyer. And I told the front employee, I said to her, please, what's going on is, there's no lights. I said, what time do you guys open? She said 6. And I was like, okay, well, aren't you going to put them on at 6? She says, no. She said the people in the gym where the old people are said they're too bright. She said she puts them on at 8. I said, listen, I'm coming from the shower. It is wet. Okay? It's wet. I almost fell on the floor. Okay? Smashed my head on that marble floor. And I only asked her why the lights weren't turned on. Okay? I gave her a little bit of hell because I was gonna hurt myself. I would have sued Rutland City like nobody's business. Smashed my head and then went dead, right? Just because old ladies, you have the basketball court, you've been in it, it's bright. There is no reason why she can't turn the lights on at 6.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So, Ms. Conway,
anyway,
what you're asking for is to have the no trespass lifted. Is
yes,
that correct?
please. But let me tell you what happened, please.
I think
Please.
we've got a pretty good gist of what
No, you
happened.
don't. No, you don't.
We're
No,
going
you
to have
don't,
a
because what
discussion with the
happened
rec
was-
department.
What happened was that I was addressed inside. I don't know why I have a no trespass, okay? I can only gather. So I was addressed to a gentleman, an officer, opened the girls' locker room. I was barely dressed. I was blow drying my hair, and he says, you have to leave. You have to leave immediately. And I said, what? What's going on? He says, you need to leave. You got a no trespass. The employee says you got to go. And something went wrong. I said, yeah, because I gave her shit because I was going to fall. So I said to her, I said to him, I said, what is going on? Can I at least, you wouldn't let me blow dry my hair. It was 30 below 0. My hair was frozen. I wasn't dressed. I was still wet in my towels. He wouldn't let me dry. He told me to get going right away. He said, I'm going to be at the side of the door. And I went with him down the hall to address this problem with the girl, the employee, like what happened? I really didn't know. She wasn't there. So, and then all of a sudden, he said, he gave me the no trespass. Okay. But I can only gather, I like it there. I need to go there. I really like it. Plus, I go to Meadow Street Park. I go to functions. I do the trails. Now I want to go to VAC, right? I got a pamphlet. I can't go to VAC.
All right, Mrs. Conway,
I can't
I'm
go
going
to
to
VAC
ask you,
either.
that we've gone to the 5
I have
minutes.
no
We
trespass.
understand the issue.
And
I'm
kids
going
no
to
longer
ask
there.
that you would please stop. We're going to have a discussion with the rec department about that, and we'll get back to you, okay?
When will it be addressed to? By when?
Excuse me?
When will it be addressed to when I can check
Just
in?
as soon as I possibly can. I have
By
a full-time
Friday?
job. I'm sorry?
By Friday?
By Friday? Hopefully, yes. Yes.
Okay, because
Thank you.
the lights should be on at 6.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All righty. So, anyone else outside the rail? Okay, one more, please. And good evening to you.
Hello.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if I could politely, as I always do, ask for your name and address for the record.
Yes, I'm Beth Barra, and I live at 129 Church Street in Rutland.
Thank you, Beth.
And last week, Gordon wrote this article, Grant Imagines a New Use for Walmart. And I would like to read just a quick paragraph, if you will bear with me. This is what Lyle Jebsen, I still call it Rutland Chamber of Commerce. I'm stupid. I don't really know what CEDRR, Rutland Region, anyways. This is what Mr. Jepson had to say about Walmart moving. Following the announcement that they got $2,500 to pursue plans for when Walmart leaves. Following the announcement, we put together a group to discuss what, if any, influence we might have, and this is in parentheses, on future use of the property being the Walmart property. There's been discourse about whether it's a magnet for business downtown, or could there be something more? Could there be housing? Could there be more businesses instead of one large department store? Could there be recreational uses? Unfortunately, I'm not a statistician. I wish I could have done a poll. I'm sure there are people in Rutland who feel we need a magnet store in downtown. If Walmart leaves, people will still shop at Price Chopper, but I think downtown will stultify, I guess is the word. As for housing over where Walmart is, I work just beyond the train station on the other side of the tracks. I can't imagine housing there. I can't imagine having children there. There's the railroad tracks. There's a little bit of green space between the railroad tracks and the warehouse where I work. It's not really a place for bringing up a family. I'm asking all of you to really think about what, especially what the mayor might have in mind for Walmart. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right, Beth. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that does it for Outside the Rail. Let's go on to the agenda before us. No special event permit requests. It's reports and letters from department heads and officials. Barbara?
We forgot communications.
Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot all about the mayor. How did we do that?
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
No worries. So two things. I know we usually don't respond to public comment in this section, but the chief has asked if the board would be so willing, he'd be happy to give executive session update this evening briefly about the situation at 133 Grove Street. If the board's willing to add that to the agenda at the end.
So moved. Second.
All righty. Motion's been made and seconded to have a little executive session at the end of the meeting. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes.
Great, thank you. And then I did want to comment, I do actually have a meeting scheduled on Wednesday for Lori and I. Maybe the time doesn't work for her, so I'll reach out and figure out what's wrong and get back to her and see. The woman who was speaking on 133 Grove, the first one whose brothers passed away, we do have something on the calendar, but might need to reschedule, so I'll find out and figure out why she felt we couldn't meet. Aside from that, I just wanted to touch on two events that have happened in the city over the past 2 weeks. Maplewood Commons, which is the new complex, I think it's 32 units, if I'm correct, 31 or 32 units going to be built off of Forest Street. The neighborhood down there has been really well developed. I think this is going to be a fantastic addition, and really excited to see that come in. And then the other one I wanted to touch on is the Peter Welch Town Hall. Senator Welch came to Rutland last week, had the opportunity to speak. I was actually invited to sit up on stage with him, which was very nice, but Peter spoke to us about a lot of things happening in the federal government where we need to kind of keep our eyes and ears right now. If you have not had the opportunity to see it, it is on PEG TV. I would suggest you go and watch it. It discusses not just the federal happenings and goings on, but the implications that we will have here in the city, things like grants and funding that could affect us. So I think if the board would do you some justice to take the time and go watch it if you have the opportunity. That's it for me today. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sorry for skipping over you there. No worries. All right. Very good. Now we can get into the reports and letters from department heads and officials. Barbara here? Yeah, there you are. Yeah, you were hiding. Yeah, good evening, Barbara. Yeah, I think you got a couple of things here. So first one on the agenda is the BIAP grant for Bellaluccia's?
Yes, Bellaluccia's.
Okay.
Bellaluccia's, right? I say it wrong.
Excuse me. I will remember that.
Another vowel in there.
So the applicant, Jessica Mazzarello, is applying for a $5,000 BIAP grant to open a retail store. Anyone care to say it? Bellaluccia's?
That's right.
Okay. At 58 Merchants Row in downtown Rutland. This will be an intimate apparel and contemporary footwear store. The application meets the criteria for a $5,000 grant through more than $35,000 of personal investment toward renovation of the space, inventory, and a point-of-sale system. Jessica would be here tonight to speak to you and answer any questions, but she had a medical issue with her family, and so she's unable to be here tonight. But I'm sorry, Rebecca Langor is here to answer any questions that you might have. Rebecca is the owner of Fruition and has been working with Jessica on this project. So the the RRA board did recommend to the aldermen approval of the $5,000 grant, and I sent you a copy of the application and the business plan.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Alderwoman Taddeo.
I would make a motion to suspend the rules and take the matter up tonight.
Okay, motion's been made to suspend and it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion passes. Go
And
ahead.
I would make a motion to approve the $5,000 BIAP grant to Bellaluccia's. Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any questions in debate? Alderman Gillen.
I just have one question for the people at home. 58 Merchants Row, where exactly on Merchants Row is that?
Right, it's right next to Fruition, between Fruition and Sandwich Shop. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, people will be asking me, I didn't really know exactly where that was, but now I do. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Would you like to say anything, or are you all set? Well, that's short and sweet. That's all we like. Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the next one is your Special Benefits District Revolving Loan Fund recommendation to approve.
Yes, so the city has a special benefits district revolving loan fund that provides low-interest loans to property owners in the special benefits district. The program is administered by the RRA and the DRP, and the loan requests are reviewed by a subcommittee consisting of 2 RRA board members, 2 DRP board members, and the mayor or his designee. On May 19th, the subcommittee met to discuss the application of Erika Jokinen of C Street Holding Corp. And the applicant provided all of the necessary documents as well as the application fee to the city. The subcommittee moved to recommend to the aldermen approval of a $30,000 SBD revolving loan fund loan at 5% fixed interest for 15 years. A copy of the minutes from that meeting and the application were included in your packet. I also provided you a copy of the SBD revolving loan fund policy, which was amended on May 15th, 2023.
Okay. So, motion to suspend the rules would be in order.
So moved. Second.
Then moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. And
I'll move for the approval of $30,000 for the SBD revolving loan fund at 5% fixed interest for 15 years for C Street Holding Corp.
okay, and there's a second. All righty. Any questions for Barbara on this request here? Yes, Alderman Donahue.
Yep, I'm not sure if it's for Barbara or for the city attorney, but who drafts the loan document, the final product before this is executed?
City attorney.
City attorney, okay. Do you mind if I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Just on an example like this where it's one loan, or one loan for $30,000. In the policies, they have the way the loan will act as a second mortgage, second to subordinate to the first mortgage on the property, and that the real estate acts as the collateral, if you will. So since this is one loan, but is 3 different properties, just wondering, is there a way in which you would write that meets the test of of the,
We will find a way
Second.
to write it to make, to meet the test there. It is distinctly possible, and I apologize for not giving a more specific answer, but without looking at all of the documents and the details in front of me, it'd be a little difficult to explain how that would function, but it can be done.
okay. So I would just ask that if the, was there a motion to approve, or so there's a motion to approve. I just want to make sure we have the understanding that that would be incorporated into the final loan document, that we would have a second position somehow designed around the three structures that this is impacting, because normally it would be one loan, one building. This is one loan, three buildings.
Okay, I think the city attorney's taken that under advisement.
Yep, it's gonna take a little doing, but we can get it done.
Okay. All righty. So there's been a motion to approve.
I'm otherwise in favor.
No, absolutely. Yep, yep. It's been seconded. Any further debate? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next up is Ted Gillen with a 1, 2, 3 requests here. Why don't we start right at the top? Request the board to authorize the Commissioner of Public Works to sign standard conditions for above the ground pole and cable and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Green Mountain Power made the request near the intersection of 4th Street, South Street. Want to upgrade to 3-phase power to serve the development the mayor referenced earlier.
I'll move to
Reviewed it?
excuse me.
So the housing development, that's,
Yeah, we reviewed it for utilities, everything's fine.
Yeah.
okay. So the
I'll move
motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
And I'll move for the approval with the 7 standard conditions.
Second.
Alrighty, motion's been made and seconded to approve the request with the 7 standard conditions. Alderman Gillen?
I'm hoping that the neighbors have been consulted about this pole's like in it is in our right of way, which is fine, but you're looking at the street here,
It's a block away, too.
it's a block away, yeah.
I have not consulted with the property owners, but I can if you'd like.
I would think we need to keep them in the fold here, because looking at the view here, the picture here, if I was the owner of the property, I would have a little concern here about a pole in the front yard, so,
2 pole, oh no, pole and a guy.
Right.
yeah. one pole.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Alderman Donahue?
Just on the conditions, Ted,
Yes.
with this form, I noticed that we sign off on it after Green Mountain Power signs off, and they kind of pre-signed it there, that it doesn't actually indicate which one we're approving anywhere in the document. So I'm just curious if that's something that can be
Yeah, we can.
noted somehow in the, it's got the 7 conditions we're agreeing to, but no particular location cited.
Yeah, I mean, the application was sent in with everything that's attached behind it with the photographs. We can modify this to make it a little bit more explicit, have a specific address, something to that effect if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be,
Yeah. I mean, while we're on the subject, you know, I see this form was last revised in 2016.
I noticed that too, yeah.
I know I have a few conditions that I would add to this, given the opportunity. So
Wasn't there?
perhaps sometime we could refer this to Public Works Committee and clean it up a little bit.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, not tonight, but, I mean, we refer it tonight, but we won't hold this one up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion's been made to approve with the existing 7 standard conditions.
Right.
Everybody all set? All righty, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Motion passes. All righty. Anyone want to make a referral, or you want to wait on
I'll
that?
move to refer the application for poles and wires to the Public Works Committee.
Second.
Yeah. Motion to refer the issue to Public Works, and it's been seconded. Any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay, go ahead, Ted.
Next topic is the mid-block crosswalk, Merchants Row. See a hand raised.
I'll move to refer to the Public Works Committee.
Second.
Okay, so the request is to refer to Public Works, so the motion's been made and seconded. Alderwoman McClure.
Thank you. I just would really encourage with this warning, we also invite the executive director and assistant director of the Downtown Rutland Partnership, as well as the transportation planner from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. Ethan worked very closely with Bob and Ted in putting this together last year. And just a personal anecdote, I work on Merchants Row. I use this crosswalk all through the summer. Last summer, there was a dramatic difference in how cars behaved, how people drove. It was significantly safer for the employees on the street, but most importantly, the families using Wonder Feet every day. I saw so many more people more comfortable with strollers and taking their time and safely being able to get out of their cars. I strongly encourage all of my colleagues here to reach out to Wonder Feet Kids Museum and reach out to their friends who may work on Merchants Row and ask them their perspective, because I can assure you it's almost a consistent, overwhelmingly positive one from the people who are interacting with that street as pedestrians every day. So, thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, so again, the motion is to refer. It's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion passes. And finally,
One last referral here regarding the Center Street Streetscape project. We received 3 proposals in response to our RFP. Reviewed them, interviewed all of them. We have a recommendation. We just want to discuss it in a bit more detail with the committee of the whole, since it's my understanding that they govern the capital improvement plan, which could be a potential source of funding. We also will talk about TIF a little bit and how it could be reimbursed that way. But ultimately, it would be a recommendation to approve in ESA and then bring that back to the board.
okay, so the motion, well, it hasn't been made yet, but
Motion
Alderwoman McClure.
to, thank you. Motion to send the Center Street Revitalization Engineering Services Agreement to the Committee of the Whole for further
Second.
discussion.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded. Anyone have any debate or questions about that? Committee of the whole? Yes, Alderman Donahue.
Chairman, if the Finance Committee can have that same jurisdiction, does it have to be specifically to the Committee of the Whole, or can the Finance Committee, it's going to come back to the board, I'm assuming at the next meeting with a recommendation. I'm just wondering if it didn't make any difference if it was the Finance Committee. The entire Board of Aldermen doesn't have to get together with a special board meeting.
So, Alderman Gillen.
I understand his point, but this is such a major project for the TIF district and for the Center Street. It really needs to have our attention. The full board needs to understand the full scope of what we're doing there and how we're going to finance it. That's why I think we wanted the whole board to do this. I understand it should go to finance, but I think this is a big enough project. This is a huge movement for the city to improve the downtown area and the anchor stores that we're going to have down there, the hotel in Paramount and the other locations on Center Street and Wells Street. So this is a real big deal. I think the full board should be on board on this to understand how this is going to work.
And if this motion were to pass, that would be something that I would call, is there a time element to this? Do you need it done by a certain time?
I would say quickly.
Quickly?
Yep.
Well, that's a great answer. Thank you.
Well, in time for the, have a committee.
Before the next meeting.
Then come back to the next meeting would be ideal.
Okay.
And my suggestion was just to make it more nimble, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded to refer to the Committee of the Whole. Any further debate? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along, Chief Lovett.
Hi there. Hopefully you received my letter in the packet. Tonight I'm here to request $55,520 to be moved from the unassigned fund balance to my budget line for salaries. It was removed during the budget hearings pending my ability to fill a third floater firefighter's position, which I have been able to. I have an applicant that is ready to accept, pending your vote tonight.
Okay, all righty, so Alderwoman Taddeo.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
All righty, motion has been made to suspend, and it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion, or those opposed, motion passes.
And then I would make a motion to approve funding in the amount of $55,520.58, and unassigning that to cover the salary of the third floating firefighter. So to move the funding from the unassigned fund balance.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, and that's gonna go to your salary line in your
And move
budget?
it to the salary line item.
Okay, all righty. Yes. Well, of course you can.
I just wanted to know, when will that position start?
Right after January 1st, or July 1st, excuse me. Wrong year, yes.
You're welcome. All righty. Anyone else have any questions for Chief Lovett on this request? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion passes.
So there's also a second request in here for $3,300 for the unassigned fund balance to the department's 2026 budget to outfit the floaters. So I'm not sure if that's the funding source we want to use. I'm kind of wondering.
Can we find it in the budget, Chief?
The
Packet
current budget,
$3,300.
with obligations that we've already ordered, it's probably, it's gonna be close. I don't have confidence that I would have that money left over.
So if I may.
Your last month.
Okay, why don't we go one at a time here? Thank you. Alderwoman Davis?
So I think if I may, the only other funding that I'm aware of is the equipment replacement fund, which I don't know that we want to take clothing. Well, we have taken clothing, but I don't know. you
Yeah.
know.
This
I
could be,
just, the reason I'm asking is, as we all know, the unassigned fund balance goes back to offset taxpayers. It goes back to relieve the taxpayer burden at the end of the budget year. So I thoroughly support the $55,000 for the salary, because I think when we have an opportunity to grab a talent of a firefighter, then we want to nurture that growth. I have no trouble. We gotta outfit them. We certainly hire them. We gotta put some clothes on their backs. But I just didn't know. I'm looking at the treasurer to see if there was just another funding mechanism. Otherwise, I'll just move to approve it.
Okay, why don't we have Alderwoman McClure, and then we'll get into where we want to get it from. Go ahead.
Thank you. My question was going to be, when you say outfit, is this like dress shirts and pants, or is this like flame retardant gear that other firefighters can use in the case of, gear swaps, stuff like that?
Actually, the $3,300 is the increase in cost to outfit these 3 floating firefighters that has happened since our December talk and budgets. So it's fire coat, helmet, boots, pants, hood, the Gemter belt, and the bailout setup, and that's it. The rest of the equipment I can take from supplies right now that we have. We have some surplus, so I can cover them.
If I may, I just have a
You
follow-up.
have a follow-up, yep.
And has the precedent been set at any point that we've previously utilized, say, the equipment replacement fund for this kind of equipment? I know it's not necessarily a fire truck, which we've used it for before, but could it fall under that?
We have tapped into the fire equipment fund for other things in the past, but I'd caution you not to use that as a source of funding, because it barely keeps track or up with the current cost of the fire trucks. In fact, it may not. So I would prefer not to tap into that source.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have Alderman Donahue and then have Alderwoman Taddeo.
yeah, and if we could just ask the city treasurer, only because I think the unassigned fund balance is the wrong place to take it from. And I would support the purchase, but that is there for a reason. I think it would be a bad precedent to set. And with a month to go, the balance of that fund does go back to the taxpayer. It reduces property taxes. I'd rather not see it used for this purpose. I'd rather see equipment replacement fund or something of that sort. If the treasurer has a better suggestion, I would prefer to make that motion and support it
Okay.
that way.
All righty. Mary, you want to? Thank you.
Thanks. I would prefer to wait until we close the year to see what our unassigned fund balance looks like, because that really does buy down the tax rate. So that's really the most important thing to me right now. And I'm pretty confident with the budget. I know the chief is uncomfortable overspending a line that perhaps next year we could likely absorb a $3,300 increase. We have increases all over the place. Our health insurance increase is going to be 15%, so I'm not sure we're going to be going through each department and trying to assign individually. So I'd prefer to leave it and see how we do, and I'll have a conversation with the chief, but it's likely that it could be absorbed within that budget that was approved.
Okay, that makes some sense. Alderwoman Taddeo?
Well, I was going to make a motion to suspend the rules and take this matter up tonight and then approve this expenditure, but my primary goal would be to make sure that all three firefighters are adequately outfitted as soon as they need to be. So.
And I think, Chief, you mentioned that this stuff has been purchased or is about to be purchased.
It would be based on our conversations. I mean, it's not a hill that I'm willing to die on, so to speak. If I can work with Mary to make this happen, that'd be acceptable.
I think that that's what I'd like to see, and I see the mayor nodding his head.
I approve, I agree.
Everybody okay with that for now?
$3,300.
We're already at the 2nd of June. The month's gonna go by fast, so. Yeah, go ahead, Mayor.
Just to be clear, I think we can go ahead and purchase the gear, and then we
Figure
can
out how to pay for it.
allocate the funds from wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So if we have to bring it back to you, we can do that, but I think right now we can move forward with that.
Right.
Is that good?
Okay, all right. Everybody all right with that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. That it for you already. And Treasurer Markowski, I think you have one issue to bring before us?
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, thanks, Billy.
Yes, I just have one item for tonight's meeting. This was regarding the bond documents and the compliance matters with the applications that we just sent. There was one document that I needed board approval and signature, not board signature, but the clerk's signature. It is the declaration of intent that we would spend money up front and be reimbursed. So for that, for the Giorgetti project. This is specific to the Giorgetti refrigeration project.
So a
chiller
motion to
project.
suspend would be in order?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
And I would move to approve the declaration of intent and authorize the city clerk to sign for the CIP bond for the Giorgetti project.
Second.
All righty. Any questions for the city treasurer on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. And finally, almost finally, City Attorney LaChance.
Yes, so you'll notice it's one in there, but there was nothing in your packet regarding financing documents for funding of JCI. That's because we haven't gotten the response back on the red lines that were sent over. We are optimistic that they would be ready in time for this meeting, so I'm just going to take a little time and kind of preview briefly what that will entail, so you will see them at the next meeting. Their general loan documents, not too many in the way of tweaks. We're making sure all the numbers line up for the funds that have already been requested. Shouldn't be anything too unexpected in there. We've already discussed the numbers and the costs of the JCI project. And I don't know if the treasurer has anything she would like to add in terms of details at this point, but that's the short version.
Okay. So we'll get the complete story then next time.
Yep.
Okay. All righty. Why don't we leave it at that? Okay. So, reports of standing committees. We have Alderman Donahue.
Hey. All right. So the Community and Economic Development Committee met on May 21st, 2025. The topics were the Rutland Regional Planning Commission 2026 Regional Plan and the Regional Future Land Use Map. The Community and Economic Development Committee of the Rutland City Board of Aldermen met on the 21st at 5:30 in Chambers, right here at City Hall. All committee members were present, including Chair Donahue, Vice Chair Davis by phone, Alderwoman McClure, Alderman Gillen, and a quorum was present and voting. Also in attendance, Aldermanic Board President Hilaire, Alderman Coopely, Alderman Tabbitt, and Alderwoman Savage. City officials attending included Mayor Dunges and our city planner, Ed Bove. Other officials included the Rutland Regional Planning Commission Executive Director, Devin Neary, Rutland City Planning Commission Chair, Rebecca Stevens, and Planning Commission members Patrick Giffen, and the blank I left on my minutes was for the name Jake Pluto, P-L-U-C-A. So, clearly I meant to fill that in and then didn't get back to it, Mr. Chairman. So I left you guessing there, but it was Jake. Members from the public included John Sabatassa. The meeting was recorded and broadcast thanks to PEG TV and is also available on pegtv.com and their YouTube channel if anybody's interested. Chair Donahue opened the meeting at 5:32 p.m. Specifically being considered were the downtown designation area within the amended neighborhood development area of the City of Rutland zoning map. And 2, consideration of a municipal request for a Tier 1B area designation for submission to the Vermont Land Use Review Board. Regarding item number 1, Chair Donahue turned the presentation over to Devin Neary, who gave a detailed presentation of the Rutland of the regional plan purpose and design, the land use, the framework under Act 181, and the future land use map. Devin then drilled down to present detail of the proposed downtown designation area boundaries, and the committee and officials present had a robust question and answer on specific details. A couple notes of interest included the following. A, that this boundary would not affect the current downtown special benefit district, SBD, but could afford other incentives to development within the expanded boundaries. And that B, the proposed boundaries are very close to the new tax increment financing, TIF, district, and the committee believes mirroring those boundaries would be the logical version. Regarding item number 2, Devin Neary explained the timeline for a municipal request for Tier 1B area designation, which is July 1st, 2025, weeks away, and just weeks away, I should say, and the benefits for development within a Tier 1B area. A couple of notes of interest include A, that our municipality will be able to apply to the Vermont Land Use Review Board for Tier 1A area designation after January 1st of 2026. The city currently enjoys a generous housing development exemption status for our downtown center designation and current neighborhood development area under Act 181's Act 250 interim exemption, which is in place until January 1st of 2027. The committee decided to have the issue remain in committee with the possibility of not requesting the RRPC apply for a Tier 1B status because it would be more restrictive on development than the current exemption I just mentioned through 1/1/27 under Act 250. Again, the committee was also inclined to support aligning the downtown designation boundaries with the TIF district boundaries, and we would continue to review and receive input for making a formal recommendation to the board at the full board meeting on Monday, June 16th. Additionally, the Rutland Regional Planning Commission suggested we identify a contact person. Alderman Gillen moved to recommend to the full Board of Aldermen, seconded by Alderwoman McClure, the following. Approve City Planner Ed Bove as the city's designated contact point, and our conduit, in parentheses, our conduit for the collection of further input, public input, information gathering on the plan that is to be shared with the committee on behalf of the Board of Aldermen. The committee chair Donahue called for further discussion. Hearing none, the motion was approved unanimously by the committee, 4 yes and 0 no, and I would so move.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. It's been seconded to designate Ed Bove as our contact point. Is there any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion passes.
And I still stand because subsequently I am going to have a meeting of the committee on Wednesday, 2 nights from tonight, with City Planner Bove, who has that follow-up information for us. So we would then probably be making these recommendations that we looked at, decided to remain in committee, Mr. Chairman, But we do want to make decisions by June 16th so the Regional Planning Commission can know their path forward on our behalf for that application or not, and about those district boundary lines. And we want to do that in a timely fashion, so we're going to do that Wednesday night with City Planning Commission input and through our conduit at both.
Good.
Yeah.
All
Alderman
right.
Gillen moved to adjourn the meeting, seconded by Alderman McClure. Motion passed, and the meeting concluded at 6:37 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Tom Donahue, the NED Committee Chair.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So, going down our agenda here, any select committee, I don't see any on the agenda. Representatives, no petitions, letters, nothing for Board of Control Commissioners, nothing for Board of Cannabis. Unfinished, you have one entry here under unfinished, City Attorney.
Yes, I put it there because I wasn't quite sure exactly where it should go, but it does need addressed. So, as you all recall, the chief of police read this lovely, wonderful, long motion about VMERS Part D, and unfortunately we got the date wrong, and it should have been September 30th instead of December 31st in the motion. So with that in mind, I would like the board to entertain reconsidering and striking the former motion, and I can read out the correct language with the corrected date for the board to approve. That is the only change, and that was a requirement on VMER's part. We got contacted about that and having the date corrected.
So we need a motion to reconsider.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. And a motion to correct the date, putting in the correct date of September 30th.
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
Alrighty, it's been moved and seconded. Yes.
One point of order, and I just wanted to clarify, unless I'm mistaken, you can't actually amend the motion now that it's at a separate meeting. It would have to be a motion to strike the previous motion and then
So moved.
Second.
Sorry
Okay,
to make it more complicated, but
that's okay. You've lost me, but Alderwoman McClure.
I'll move the motion if Attorney LaChance wants to read the corrected language. Please don't make me do it 2 meetings in a row.
All right, I will.
I can do that.
Okay,
We have a motion on the floor to strike the
thank you
previous.
very much. So there's a motion on the floor, it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. And, please.
All right. And so the motion we are looking for this evening is a motion to find that all sworn officers, including sergeants, commanders, and police chiefs that are not otherwise covered by the collective bargaining agreement, who do not elect to join at the first offering, can join by notifying VMERS by September 30th to join the following July 1st. All new hires, eligible hires after the date of this vote shall be required to enroll in VMERS D as of July 1st, 2025 as a condition of employment.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alrighty, miscellaneous motions, resolutions, new business. Alderwoman Davis.
So, as we know, and I've been able to participate sometimes the times of the meeting are just not good for me, that the mayor has a task force dealing with Walmart leaving the downtown plaza and what should be done with that site. That discussion belongs also at this board level because we will be decision makers. And I think before things get so far ahead and grants are being received and discussions and directions are being taken place, this board needs to be up to speed. So I'm moving to refer this to Community and Economic Development Committee.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Alrighty, motion's been made and seconded.
I think that discussion already exists there, a discussion of Walmart and what is
It
happening.
could be, I just want to make sure it's in committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have something there?
Yeah, just real quick, I think we reported that a while ago. It does sit, it's still open in CED. can obviously refer it again, but yeah, we
Yeah.
put it there a while ago.
All right, well, we'll refer it again just to make sure. Any further debate? Seeing none, Alderman Gillen?
Also, this summer, we're getting a report from our consultant, which will come to this board also, so.
Right.
Okay, good. All righty, motion is to refer. It's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Alderman Gillen, did you have something?
I do. I'd like to refer to General Committee, the Historic Societies building on Center Street. The chair has sent me an email saying we have some issues with the building. Apparently, we own the building. I'd like to refer that to the General Committee for discussion and bring them in to tell you what's happening.
Yep.
Second.
All righty, motion's been made and seconded. Any debate, any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Okay, we do have an executive session that we had been requested. If we have anything else under miscellaneous motion resolutions, new business, we'll go right into the motions for executive session, and I think we do.
I was just gonna say I have the motions
Yep,
prepared.
okay. Yep, why don't you go ahead?
All right. I would entertain a motion to find that premature general public knowledge regarding security or emergency response measures, the disclosure of which would place the city at a substantial disadvantage because the disclosure could jeopardize public safety.
So moved. Second.
All righty, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
And then I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session with the inclusion of the mayor, treasurer, clerk, city attorney, and chief of police to discuss the security or emergency response as allowed under Title I, Section 313A10.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.